There's about 40 dogs at the shelter here. A lot of them are actually quite small. If you go to a UK shelter, they're full of bull breeds, so like Staffordshire Bull Terrier types, boxers, a lot of collie crosses, but here a lot of them are quite smaller breeds, so maybe like Chihuahua crosses or Corgi crosses. So I think, to be honest, it's probably evident that the street dog survives if it's smaller. The bigger street dogs probably, you know, that they aren't kept as much because they're so big, unless they're for a purpose, i.e. guarding, so like a scrapyard or something like that, then they want a big dog. But generally speaking, the ones that survive on the street tend to be, as evident as it is here, the smaller ones, which is also quite interesting. A lot of them are quite red in colour, and I would say, again, the English ones, they tend to be brindle. When they're crossed with this, that and the next, they all tend to turn out sort of a brindley colour, whereas these ones, the mixed up ones, they're all sort of a reddy colour, so that's quite interesting as well. I would say, on the whole, Romanian dogs are definitely more social than UK dogs, and again, that's probably because of the culture here, that, you know, they're let out, they're allowed to roam, they're allowed to interact with the other dogs, the neighbours' dogs. They're not kept in a pen, they're not kept in the house, they're allowed to be free and, you know, perform natural behaviours. So I would say, on the whole, they are definitely more social. One of the biggest problems in the UK is dog-to-dog aggression. A lot of behaviourists will see clients with their dog and they're complaining that my dog doesn't like other dogs, and a lot of this is because of lead frustration. Again, the difference in Romania is a lot of the dogs are allowed to roam, they're not on a lead, so they don't become frustrated. So a lot of that problem is unfortunately due to the fact that the owner is constantly keeping the dog on the lead in the UK, whereas that doesn't happen as much here. They're on the lead here, of course, but on the whole, dogs are allowed to be free and express natural behaviours, so you're not going to get that frustration level, and therefore you're not going to get that aggression towards other dogs. So yes, they are definitely more social. On the flip side, I would say the UK dogs are more confident in coming up to people than the Romanian dogs are, but again, that would be because you know, some people are going to shoo away the dogs because they have no owner, because they're not under control by anybody, where in the UK they have to be under control by somebody at all times. So therefore, you know, the owner says, yes, you can go up to that person, or no, you can't. So the Romanian dogs will be used to people shooing them away, whereas the English dogs will be used to people either saying, come on over, or just ignoring them. So naturally they will adapt to what their environment is. Any dog will do that. So in Romania they understand, be wary of strangers, be wary of people until they encourage you to come over, whereas the UK dog will just bound up over to anybody at any time if they feel like it, and, you know, they'll either be stopped because they're on their lead, or the person will say, yeah, that's fine, he can jump all over me. So, you know, there are lots of differences in the way that naturally the dogs behave, obviously. The climate, you know, English dogs will go running out in the blazing hot sun because their walk times are defined by how often their owner works. So, you know, if their owner can only get home to walk them at lunchtime and it's bright hot sun, that's when they go out. Where again, the Romanian dogs, they're not silly, so they know when it's really hot you get under the tree and you sleep. So that's quite obvious. So when you come here and you see the dogs here, you know, probably about I would say 1, 2 o'clock, it's quiet. Everybody's out, but it's silent because everyone's asleep under the tree because they're smart and they don't run about like silly dogs getting hot and exhausted. Whereas if you go to England, you will see dogs running about in the park at 12 o'clock midday when it's really hot. When it is really hot in England, which isn't very often, but when it's hot, you will see them running about because their walks and their exercise is, you know, it's controlled by when their owner takes them out. They don't get that choice. In Romania, if they want to go for a walk, they go for a walk, and that's lovely. I envy them. But on the whole, I would say definitely, and this isn't me just saying this for the camera, Romanian dogs, I would say, are probably a better dog because they are more social. They are easier to work with because once you get that bond, it's a strong bond. Whereas the UK dogs, I think, unfortunately, they're so wired and they're so frustrated, their problems are more intense and it's harder to crack it. You can do it, but you're going to have to be ready to work through it. Whereas I think these guys, the worst you're going to get is a little bit of fear, and that's just a bit of time. That's all it's going to take. But they will be slashing with other dogs. They really will. They'll be out there playing, performing natural behaviours. And aggression is a natural behaviour, might I add. It is a natural behaviour, but it's where it's appropriate. I think UK dogs, they're aggressive for no reason. If these dogs are aggressive, it's because they're guarding food from another dog, which is natural, or they're guarding territory, which isn't going to happen because they've got a home and they've got a home, so that's not going to happen either. But I think on the whole, definitely, these dogs are good dogs. And I think you'll enjoy your time here. I'm definitely enjoying my time here. And I would recommend anyone to come out and see and just experience how different it is to your own country.